Hi everyone, welcome back to the next diecast. In today's video, I'll be doing an unboxing and a quick review of this 1/24 scale 1992 Ford Explorer made by Maisto. I got this model from eBay. I paid $25 for it in total, including shipping and everything. A little bit more on the high side, I guess, for a 1/24 scale car, but this one I think is kind of sought after when compared to other older 1/24 scale cars that Maisto has made. This model was made in the 1990s. I'm not sure when Maisto actually discontinued it, but I do know that they haven't made it for at least 10 years now at this point. As you can see, it's definitely seen some better days. I'm probably not going to be keeping the box, unfortunately, for that reason. I mean, you can just tell that it's, and I knew that this would have this level of damage on the box, but you can tell with the window and everything here. Just totally just cracked and caved in and stuff. Looks like they did tape up that though, at least, but here's the model on the back of the box here. This is actually the green version. I got the blue version, but it does feature the folding rear seat. Kind of a cool touch. And then you have the, opening doors, opening liftgate adjustable seats, folding rear seat, adjustable front wheels, and workable steering. Copyright 1994, so it's safe to say that this was probably made in 1994 as well. Usually the copyright dates on Maisto boxes correspond to the year that the model was actually made. So there's the diagram of the model down there. So we'll get this out of the box, or attempt to, I should say. It looks like, I think it was retaped at one point. I don't think the model was ever actually taken out of the, or taken off of its base, but they definitely did retape the box. So we'll go ahead and get that tape off and then get the model out. All right, tape is off, or broken, I should say. There's the Explorer. Let's see if we can get this out. Look at the plastic comes out with it. That never happens. Usually the plastic's attached to the box, but look at that. What a mess. I mean, and I try to keep vintage boxes like this, but if they're damaged enough, like this one obviously is, I say, no, I can't really keep it. I don't even know if I can get to it. Yeah, it is still screwed to the base, which is good. I just don't know how to get this cardboard off, or out. Okay. So it is taped on pretty extensively. I'm just gonna unscrew the model, but look at how yellow that is. I mean, that's like brown. You tell how old it is. I mean, look at that. At least this took most of the sun damage. The model looks perfect, but the box definitely was sacrificed in the process, which isn't really totally unheard of. So let's get this one out. It looks like there's only one screw on here. Interesting, so we'll get that screw off. All right, now look at that. Of course now, when I don't need this to come off, it does. Well, we did get the model off at least, or unscrewed, I should say. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be tossed, unfortunately, but that's just how it is sometimes. I will keep the screws. Add those to my scrap bin. All right, well, here's the Explorer 1992. Of course, you got the opening doors and this rear lift gate, if I can get that open with one hand. There we go. And then you have that rear seat. Oh. That rear seat as well. I'll figure that out later. In the meantime, here's the model. Now on to the review. All right, let's take a closer look at this 92 Ford Explorer made by Maisto. This is a pretty cool model from Maisto. They made this model from, I think, the early 1990s until the early to mid 2000s. And Maisto also made a model of the 1995 Explorer, which was a different design. That was the second generation. It had kind of the same basic overall shape and size, Ford just kind of made some of the lines more curved instead of kind of this boxy look that you had here. And of course, you had a totally different front end and a mostly different rear as well. But this model, when Maisto was still making it, came in this really cool dark blue with kind of the beige interior and the beige lower portion, and also a dark green with kind of the same interior and the same kind of beige lower portion. I believe it also came in kind of a dark red as well. And Maisto also made this in 1/43rd scale and also in their 1/64th scale line as well. I think it would have been cool if they made a 1/18 scale version of it, but I think this 1/24 scale version right here is pretty cool. So for a model that's almost 30 years old now, I think Maisto did do a great job in terms of its details and just the overall look of it. So we'll go ahead and get into the details of the model here. We'll start up here with the front. You can see that Maisto did a nice job with the front end here. You do have separately cast headlights. They do have a peg on each side, but I don't think that's really a big deal. And you do have kind of a nice texture going on with the lenses too, as well as the integrated turn signals. You get a very tiny Ford badge in the center there. And this is a fully see-through grille, which is very cool to say. And it is done in chrome. And then you have an Explorer license plate in the front too. And a separately cast plastic front bumper with kind of that chrome trim going around it, which is a cool touch. Now the tires on this model are plastic. Maisto's earlier 1/24th scale cars all came with these plastic tires, which is kind of weird and kind of cool at the same time. But if you're getting this model, it will have plastic tires, so just keep that in mind. Aside from that, though, the tires are branded. You have some Firestones on here, and the overall look and shape of the tire and the wheel, I think, are pretty well done. And shockingly, you actually do get steering on here, too, because Maisto's earlier 1/24 scale cars did all come with steering, which was kind of a cool touch. Paint quality on this model, I would say, is pretty good compared to Maisto's other kind of early models. You do have some very slight kind of orange peel in some areas, but not a ton. And I think the dark metallic blue paint really looks awesome on this particular vehicle. And you have kind of that gold stripe going down the whole length of the SUV here. It doesn't fully line up, like the front is a different height than the back, but I don't think that's a big deal. They could have very well just skipped out on that altogether, but Maisto actually went to the trouble of including that on there, which I think is a very cool touch. The mirrors are integrated into the body and they're made of metal. I think the shape's kind of off, but I don't think that's a big deal. And the wipers are just kind of molded into the windshield, kind of very cheap, just, bumped up plastic instead of separately cast plastic pieces. But this model was from the 1990s, so some details are definitely not going to be there. But I think for a model made for the 1990s, it's still a pretty cool model. And then up here you do have the roof racks, separately cast plastic pieces, and they're very sturdy, which is a nice touch. And then back here you do have nicely done taillights, just your basic kind of vertical red lenses, or red taillights, I should say. There is a peg on each side, but you can't really see it, and there is a nice texture going on too. I'm pretty sure the back of this liftgate should have Ford down here and Explorer on here, but Maisto didn't put that on there. But I don't think that's a big deal, because aside from that, the paint and everything is pretty well done back here. Now it is kind of odd with the plastic tires, because it doesn't quite roll correctly in some cases, but I think most of you are going to be just putting this up on your shelf if you do get it, so I don't think that's a big deal. Now, this model does feature an opening liftgate, as you'll see here. Not really a whole lot to see back here, except for you do have one cool feature, and that is the folding rear seat, which I thought was an awesome touch. And you can either fold the rear seat through these open windows back here, or you can do it by opening up the liftgate and doing it kind of through the back here. But I'm going to do it through the side windows back here. So to fold down the rear seat, you can just put your finger in through here, and then fold down the seat bottom like that, and then fold down the seat back like this. It was kind of hard to do it from that angle, but there, now you have the folded down seat back there. And you can see how it looks through the back of the Explorer here. Then to fold it back up, you just grab one of these tabs back here, seat back comes up, and then the seat bottom back here comes down like that, and then you got your seat back. So that's a really cool feature, and Maisto would also include this kind of cool feature on their 95 Ford Explorer and also on their 2002 Buick Rendezvous model. So I thought that was super cool that they did that. And speaking of seats, the front seats are adjustable. As you can see here, they kind of fold back or recline back like that, and you can kind of fold them forward like that. So another kind of cool touch there. And you do have opening doors as well. But aside from those cool features, not really a whole lot to talk about on the interior here. You really don't get a whole lot of detail, especially because it is an older model. You do have kind of some different textures going on, like kind of a rough texture going on with the floor. Then you have kind of those pedals right there. A different texture for the dashboard, which, by the way, the whole center stack and gauge cluster is one sticker, but this was made in 1994, so I don't think that's a big deal. At least they make some effort in making the stickers look accurate, I suppose. I don't know. And the steering wheel doesn't really have a whole lot of detail on it. At least it is a different color from kind of the beige dashboard, I suppose. But the seats are a nice overall shape and have a nice texture to them. Kind of on the small and thin side, but I don't think that's really a big deal, especially for this model's age. And then on the door panels, you do have some level of detailing with that kind of molded in door handle and the nice texturing going on as well. But aside from that, not really a whole lot to say. I think it is super cool, though, that you can fold this seat down and fold it back up again. We'll kind of do that a second time here. So you fold that down and then fold that down like that. Very cool. And on the undercarriage, not too much to see. This is the only Maisto model I can think of that has a beige base instead of a black or like a dark gray base. Kind of cool to see. Overall, this is a pretty cool model of the first generation Ford Explorer. And I think Maisto does kind of pack some cool features in here that kind of makes up for the lack of overall detailing. But again, this is one of Maisto's first 1/24 scale models that they made. So I think having not a lot of detail in general is okay, because Maisto, of course, today, if they were to re-release this, it would have a ton of detailing. But you probably wouldn't get those extra features like those folding front seats and that fold down rear seat. So overall, if you can find this model for a good price, and I got this one for $25 in total, I guess kind of on the high side for a Maisto 1/24 scale model, but this particular one has not come up for sale too often. And this one was in overall excellent shape, as you can see here. So if you can find it for a good price, I would say definitely get it if you want kind of a unique model in your 1/24 scale collection. So feel free to comment down below with your thoughts on the model here, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.